Hello, I'm Mark, and this is a free lesson from my online course, Better Business Writing Skills Level 2. If you want to take your writing further, check out the link in the description. Creating a story, the story spine. There are two basic kinds of stories that we can use, fictional stories and non-fiction, real-life stories. Both can be used to entertain or communicate some important lesson. There's a really useful template called the story spine. It's a helpful way of setting out the story structure we discussed in the previous lesson. It's used all the time by people like Pixar, the makers of wonderful movies like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. It goes like this. Once upon a time there was a every day, one day, because of that, until finally, and ever since then. Let's add some detail so you can see how it works. We'll stay with Frodo's story in The Lord of the Rings. Once upon a time, there was a young hobbit called Frodo. Every day he lived a happy life in a part of Middle-earth called the Shire. One day he inherited an evil ring of power from his uncle Bilbo. Because of that, a wizard called Gandalf encouraged him to take the ring to the king of the elves. Because of that, Frodo learned of the threat the ring posed and set out to destroy it. Until finally, despite many, many obstacles, he succeeded in casting the ring into the fires of Mount Doom, destroying it completely. And ever since then, peace has returned to Middle-earth. Let's try that again, but this time let's imagine we're writing an email to celebrate the work of a colleague. Now, I'm obviously not going to use phrases like once upon a time, but hopefully you'll see the parallels. Dear colleagues, as many of you know, John joined our team last year as a graduate trainee. He spent the last 12 months working hard to understand the business and support the work that we all do. Last week, we faced a crisis. While most of the team were out of the office at the Strategy Away Day, one of our major customers called to ask for on-site advice. Rather than panicking, John calmly contacted the relevant team members and asked for guidance. On their advice, he put together a proposal outlining what we could offer the client. The customer was delighted with the response and immediately agreed to the proposal. Today, that same customer has placed an order for an additional 1,000 units and has recommended us as a supplier to all its affiliates. As a result, I'm also delighted to announce that John has been awarded a permanent contract and will become a full-time member of our team. Now, I'm not suggesting you break out the popcorn and invite your friends over to read that email, but I hope you can see the parallels with Frodo's story. The story spine structure helps engage the reader and ensure that they get to the end. They want to know what's going to happen, and they feel a sense of satisfaction at the happy ending. Taking that structure as a basic skeleton, we can begin to create all sorts of stories in our writing. Imagine you're writing an article for a company blog and you want to share a story of success or achievement. Try using the story spine structure. Maybe you're giving a presentation to some colleagues and you want to persuade them that your idea for a new product could change your customers' lives. Why not tell the story of a customer whose world is transformed by the product, or at least whose life is improved by it? And there's nothing wrong in making up a story to illustrate a point, just as long as it's crystal clear that it's not a true story. Where to find stories? Real life stories are often the most powerful because they are rich with complex detail. But finding them can take some work. You have to keep your ears open. Try asking your colleagues for suggestions. You'll be surprised how often they'll remember some gem of a story which can bring the document you're writing to life. Another good place to look are reviews of your product or services. Do you sell your product on Amazon? Is your company reviewed on Trustpilot or TripAdvisor? Is your company active on social media? Read your reviews and you might just find something that you can use. If one stands out, why not contact the reviewer to find out more? Also, remember that the main character in a story doesn't have to be a person. Sometimes the hero of your story can be your company or organisation. It can be your team or your product. Asking why. A good place to start is to ask why. Beyond just to make money, why does your company do what it does? What was it that opened your eyes or your founder's eyes to a particular need to be filled? The story of why can be incredibly powerful, both for customers and for the people who work at your company. Takeaways. The story spine is a useful template to use for thinking about stories. The story spine is, once upon a time there was a, every day, one day, because of that, until finally, and ever since then. Find stories by asking colleagues, reading reviews, or searching social media. To uncover good stories, keep asking why. I hope you enjoyed this free lesson from my larger course. If you found it useful and want to find out more, check out my full course in the link below.